Deputy President William Ruto has once again treated our country to a sympathy-seeking circus after his failed visit to Uganda. But it is the revelation that Ruto seeks to use the tactics of Uganda's National Resistance Movement, NRM, to capture power here in Kenya that should make all Kenyans very afraid. While we do not wish to interfere with internal political arrangements in other countries, we equally want to state very categorically that we do not need to borrow from other countries' political habits, whose end results can only lead to chaos and backwardness of our country. Kenya is the most advanced democracy in this region. However bitter, long-drawn, and quarrelsome our politics sometimes are, we know when to stop and build a prosperous, inclusive country. The NRM record on human rights is not worth borrowing. The NRM record on democracy is not worth borrowing. The NRM record on good governance is not worth borrowing. The NRM record on freedom of the press is not worth borrowing. The NRM record on expanding civil society is not worth borrowing. The NRM record on fighting corruption is not worth borrowing. The NRM record on creating a cohesive society is not worth borrowing. The NRM record on uplifting people from poverty is not worth borrowing. Even worse, the NRM is a party of lifetime presidency. In embracing the NRM with its authoritarian and democratic antagonistic expansionist and anti-competition tendencies, DP Ruto reveals to all what life under him will be, and worse, that in the event he captures power, he will never relinquish it again, and he's going to become a life president, as we see from where he's borrowing from. NRM. We can guess that Ruto also wants advice, and he wants to hire political advisors from the NRM on how to destabilize the country in the event he loses the next election, as we believe he will. We have said before, and we want to repeat it here, that William Ruto is not fit to be president of Kenya. Temperamentally, ideologically, historically, and politically, Ruto is not fit to govern this country. Time and again, we have called Ruto out for his anger and bitterness, his lack of respect for rules, laws, procedures, and institutions, his past in YK 92, and the opposition to the Constitution of 2010, his propensity to resort to lies to achieve short-term goals, his determination to set age group and social classes against each other, and more importantly, his glorification of corruption as a path to richness. We have pointed out that Ruto is in the mold of leaders who rose to power by taking advantage of the prevailing desperation among their people and then proceed to create a great deal of havoc on their nations and the whole world. Ruto is in the mold of Adolf Hitler, Idi Amin, Saddam Hussein, among others, who rode on the winds of their people's desperation and pushed them deeper into misery and helplessness. To those still flattering with Ruto, who still think maybe he deserves a chance, this latest revelation should be the sign we were waiting for, that we cannot trust Ruto with our young democracy. He will not nurture it. It is the signal that we cannot trust Ruto with our presidential term limits. Once he becomes president, he will remove the term limit, just like the people he is borrowing from in Uganda, which is an NRM, and stay in power for 3 decades like what's happening in Uganda. Kenya is not ready for an angry, hungry dictator. Kenya is not ready for a life president. The time to stop Ruto is now. Any other time will be too late. I want to conclude by saying that we want the deputy president. We don't want to involve ourselves in the shenanigans of why he was not cleared, why he was cleared. That's none of our business as ODM members, because government knows how to operate, and government has been in existence since independence. It did not start with Ruto's deputy presidency. But we want Ruto to come clear on his relationship with NRM. We want to ask him to share with Kenyans what ideals he is borrowing from NRM, the National Resistance Movement, The whole world knows what the national resistance movement has done to Ugandans and how they have done their democracy. So we want the Deputy President to tell Kenyans. I have seen some of his colleagues saying they went to Uganda to employ some of the advisors of the NRM, and another one said that they went there for fruit farming. So I don't know whether you cannot do fruit farming also in Kenya. I thought there is a lot of land in the Rift Valley where you can do fruit farming. And thirdly, he said he's taking investors to Uganda. A whole deputy president taking away investors from his country, taking them to Uganda for investment. And he has been telling us that bottom up. I want to bring bottom up here. I want to bring investors here. I want to do youth employment. I want to alleviate problems of the youth. And you are taking the investors who are supposed to employ Kenyans here to Uganda, surely. And you are the deputy president, and you want to become the president of Kenya. Now we have seen your true colors. All these things you are talking about, bottom up, bottom down, bottom chini, bottom katikati, is lies. So please, the Daktari William Ruto, come clean on your relationship with NRM. That is a party that has kept someone in the presidency for 3 decades. So are you planning to stay also for 3 decades as a president in Kenya when you win? Thank you so much. Honorable Mbadi, Chairman, Karibu.
Thank you. I think Junet has said it all, but let me just maybe put into perspective 2 issues. Ruto's dalliance relationship, near marriage with Yoweri Museveni has nothing to do with winning 2022 elections. It has all to do with disrupting the peace in this country immediately after 2022 elections. Every right-thinking person knows that NRM has never won any competitive democratic election. Museveni has never won any democratic election. What Museveni knows is how to destabilize, how to grab power by force. And so Ruto cannot claim to go to Uganda to learn on issues of how to win elections. He's going to Uganda. We very well know that he has already given up. He knows he's not going to win presidency, and therefore he's going to learn tendencies on how to disrupt to disrupt peace in this country after 2022 election. Yoweri Museveni, the president of Uganda, should respect this country and know that we are not interested in importing his dictatorial tendencies that he has been exhibiting in Uganda. This is a democratic nation, a country that is guided by the rule of law, and that which has been nurtured for a very long time. I want to conclude by saying that what Junet has said makes a lot of sense. If you are the deputy president of a country, how on earth would you claim to be taking investors to another nation, to another state? That is completely a sign of lack of patriotism for the nation. And by the way, let me put it also very in perspective, that this dalliance with Yoweri Museveni is not a coincidence. Ruto started by radicalizing our youths in this country. He has been on a mission to radicalize youths in this country, incite them by creating class society so that when he loses elections, he finds people who are vulnerable to be used the same way Museveni used those who were desperate in Uganda at that time to topple a government that was in place and to lead forever and to lead for life. And so what should come out of this press conference, as Junet put it, we are not bothered with whether Ruto was cleared or not. We are bothered with his relationship with Uganda, and we are bothered with what he's going to do in Uganda to destabilize. We are interested in the peace of this country. And as leaders of this country, we don't want any sign of a leader who is demonstrating signs of causing instability in this country. We all know what we have seen previously, where people are incited to evict others from their own farms and killing people. We don't want to see that after 2022. And we are not going to allow an individual, even if you are the deputy president of the nation, to do